Hi guys, welcome to Travel with Austin. I'm Austin. I am here in Randolph County, Indiana. I'm going to be taking you guys on a tour of the Randolph County Infirmary / Asylum. Now, the building that we're in right now was an infirmary built in 1899, operated until about 2006, and now is open for photography, paranormal tours. It is also referred to as an asylum because on this very spot, there used to be an asylum that was torn down, and part of it still remains in the basement. And I'll show you guys that when we get down to the basement. Now first, this is the base camp area. So you can see in here, we kind of have the room where most people bring their equipment, charge it, all that stuff. Up there, when you're doing an overnight, is beds that you can stay in. I might show the balcony of that at the end, but I'm not going to show the whole area just because it's mostly beds and rooms. Again, some more base camp area. This is a surprisingly comfortable couch right here. And here we have some artifacts. Now, most of them are not from here, but this is, and this prosthetic leg is, that was found in the attic here. And again, we have more base camp rooms. Very nice old television here. And then we have the main desk area. There's a Jacob's ladder here. Those two doors go into the main infirmary, which we will check out in a second. But first we're going to look at the kitchen here, which guests can use when they stay overnight. There's also a working bathroom in here. And now we're going to go down to the basement. Now this is probably the creepiest place here. So I have Ethan here with me because I really don't want to be here alone. So we go over here, and we have this room, which seems like where they do laundry and stuff now. Little carpenter type room. We were told there used to be shackles on this wall here, but they're no longer here. Also, there are orbs in here. That was a fun joke our tour guide told us. So then, following Ethan and walking back this way, we have this underground section here, which I forget what he told us this was, but right now it's mostly empty. But you can see there is a window here, which is kind of interesting to me. And there are two hallways you can go down. This hallway is the creepier one. It kind of feels like someone is following you while you're down here. Luckily, someone actually is following me this time. We've got a little storage room in here. There's paint on the walls of like these weird designs that just came with the place. So in here, we have the butcher's room. Now, there was a cholera epidemic in the area, and they brought a bunch of corpses out here. It said that the corpses were stacked up against the wall, and the coroner and the mortician and all those people would come in here, prepare the bodies. But it said that one day they didn't get all the bodies done, so they put a few of them in this cooler where they stored their meats. As you can see, we have a fake body in here. And they put them on the right side and the meats on the left side. And then the next day, 3 people here died of cholera. So they think that it may be related. I'm not sure how quickly cholera sets in or anything like that, but it's definitely weird timing. So then if we go down here a bit more, we are going to go this way. And this was a little storage closet. We got stairs going up. This is a boiler room. This is the original boiler from here. Sadly, people have come in and stolen parts off it, like a pipe that's supposed to go there and gauges that are supposed to be on it. And then over here we have the laundry room. There is actually a story in here that a guy staying here had tried to kill himself multiple times, and doctors at this point were not here at the infirmary, they were in town. And what he did was he came in here, basically stuck a knife over his head and used his free hand to beat it in with an iron. He survived miraculously, but the doctor was so pissed off about it, having to come in from town so late at night and having to deal with this guy so many times, that he brought the wrong type of needle to help the guy and brought no anesthetics at all. So it was apparently very, very painful. So now we have the female dining room, which, as you can see, is mostly empty now. Then we have the kitchen. Now this is where a woman known as Doris Addington, who we have a picture of right here, she looks like a very nice little old lady. She spent most of her life here, and she was the cook here the whole time that she was here, or at least one of the cooks. So it is said that she still haunts here, but also a room upstairs that we'll talk about later. Now, a paranormal show did come here at one point, and someone slept down here. As they're sleeping down here, they heard a noise all night, and according to them, it sounded just like this. So, continuing this way, we have Ethan's favorite room, the Mayo dining room, because it is said, do you want to say it?
There's supposed to be a squid-like or little man apparition that comes from that doorway right there, and I guess makes its way to the window or out the window.
Ethan had a lot of fun with it last night trying to get it to come.
Antagonizing.
It never did, but now in here, this is gonna scare Kate. In here there is a buzzer system that goes through the whole building, and basically people lived by the buzzer to let them know when to wake up, when to go to bed, when lunch was, when dinner was. So, and the basement is the only button for it. It is very loud. There's a heavy metal door here. Even though it is a weirdly heavy metal door, behind here right now is just a boiler room. But before they had a boiler room, they had a coal oven or a coal heating apparatus. And this is where the person in charge of that would have to stay in the winter. And then this is the room where the coal stove would have been. You can see right now it's mostly got stuff in it that, they're using to fix up the place. In here is the old coal chute. It is currently blocked off, but he did tell us there is still some coal in it. So we're gonna head out again. Lots of really heavy metal doors in this section for some reason. Our tour guide did tell us one time he was working down here and this door kind of slammed shut. What interests me about this door is it looks like at some point this door would have folded up in the middle, but it no longer does. So, here we have like a shop area. Now, there was a guy here, and they called him...
Same guy that did the coal?
No, it was a different guy. It was a guy he called a wet brain, which I think meant alcoholic. I don't know.
Yep.
And basically, they would put him down here, and give him a hammer and nails, and he would just nail into it, and screw into the table and stuff like that. And that's basically just what they let him do all day. There is also a laundry chute. Oh, you're fine. There's also a laundry chute, which our guide did tell us he hid from the police in when they did a mock search here. Now, it is also said that someone brought an SLS camera, and when they shined it around this area, they got a stick figure that looked like it was hammering into the wall. And of course, given the history of this room, that does kind of make sense. So now we're back in the hallway. And the next room we are looking for is Ida's room, which is right here. Now, Ida had a very sad story. Her husband cheated on her. He contracted syphilis and died. But before he died, he gave the syphilis to her. So she was all alone. She had syphilis. She was brought in here. She tried multiple times to kill herself. None of them worked. So they put her in here in the basement. And basically during the day, she was allowed to walk around. And during the night, she was locked in here. Now, the reason they put her in the basement was because the windows here have bars in them. Because this is part of the original asylum structure that we're actually in right now. This is the basement of it. Now, one day, she asked someone for a broom to sweep up her room. And later that night, she tore her bedsheet apart, fashioned a noose out of it, stuck the broom between two pipes, and tried to hang herself. Now, the noose was not long enough. It's unsure whether or not it just wasn't long enough by design or if it ended up stretching out on her. But she basically hit the ground, still alive, and had to put herself at a 45-degree angle. And she was found the next morning dead. Cause of death was suffocation. She most likely had to strangle herself to the point of death, which is definitely not an easy feat. So, now like I said, I would tell you guys about how part of this is still the old building. So basically, when you see that, it is the newer structure. And when you see the walls like this, it is the older structure. Now, the room in here is known as the portal room, because there are mirrors everywhere facing each other in this room, which some people believe can be a portal for the supernatural. Okay. So now we're going to head up to the first floor. And they have ramps installed here, but if you're coming up the side, you have to be careful because of how they're designed. Now, in the rooms here, there is lots of antique furniture, but almost none of it is original. It was all bought by the owner. Just kind of to liven up the place a bit. Now, this would have been the male side. They did segregate by gender. And each side has a sick bay on it. So this is the male side. This place is shaped like a cross, which is interesting. It definitely had to be intentional. This we're going into is the men's day room. You can see we got a bookshelf here, large open area. When they actually took over this place, they found this puzzle, so they decided to frame it or hang it up. And then here is the buzzer alarm on the first floor. Now walking this way, we will have the chapel. Now, we were told that the last guy here, in 2005, he was the only person here. They basically told him, you can pick out any room you want. And he had already been living here for several years. I think they said like 40 years almost. So he went and decided to take the chapel because it is basically the biggest room. And he lived in this room for a year until the place actually closed down. Now, as we walk this way, we're going to be walking into the female section. This is the female day room, which as you can see is pretty empty right now. And then the female chapel. This place is basically just a mirror image of itself because it was segregated by gender. Now, this is what would have been the female bathroom. And in here, we have another bathroom. This one's more private. There is a scale here from the 1930s, I believe he said, and it still works. Now, you can see that we have vents in here, old vents, because there used to be a billow system in the basement, in the portal room actually, that would pump air around the building. Now we're going to walk down the women's side. The women's side rooms are slightly bigger because they would often have children with them. Now this is the women's sick bay. It is also the final place that Doris Addington stayed while she was here. There are a lot of dolls in here because Doris had dolls and she loved them very much. Now, not all of these dolls were originally hers, but we know for a fact that at least these two were. Doris spent her last days in here and ended up dying in the sick bay. And people just keep bringing her dolls. And then we're going to be coming up across Noah's room. Now, Noah was a child that they have record of living here and dying here. I don't think it's known for sure what age he died at, but basically a medium came in here and said that Noah wanted more toys. Then they found the record of Noah, and people started bringing in toys and writing him messages. It is said that if you come here at night, he will try to play with you, but we sadly did not have that happen to us. And you can see he's got his own little Indiana license plate. So, in this room we have a cool antique scale. I don't know what it would have been used to weigh. And we just got some more furniture. So, now we're going to head up to the second floor. Now this staircase is very loud for some reason. None of the other ones are. So we have an old gurney here. That leads out into the sleeping area. So this first room here is Lulu's room. A bit of a content warning or trigger warning. Lulu was brought here at a very young age with her stepfather after her mother died. When she came, she was pregnant despite being so young, and she was pregnant because her stepfather had raped her. Now during her time here, she became pregnant 2 more times, both because of rape. It's unsure if it was her stepfather or another person here. Sadly, sexual crimes like that were very common here. Her kids were taken away from her and she was declared unfit to be a mother, but her kids were adopted by someone in Muncie, Indiana, and they would often take Lulu out of the infirmary to go see her kids or bring her kids here. So even though it is a terrible story, there's a little bit of a good side to it. During our investigation in here, which you guys will be able to see soon in the new Paranormal Playtime video, we got some spirit box responses, and I was sitting in that corner, and I definitely felt something like overpower me, and my whole body went cold. And that was probably some of the best activity we got all night. Now, Lulu did have the biggest room here. So as you can see, these rooms are still bigger than the Mayo rooms, but Lulu's was a lot bigger. Now, there was also a room up here where these people tried an experiment by running down the hallway and yelling fire with the doors closed, because one of the former buildings on this site did burn down, and one of the doors opened. So again, here we have a day room. And again, it's basically a mirror image of the floor below. Although I do not think this would have also been a chapel. I think they said it was another day room. We have an old fire hose attached to the wall here. Then we have the Mayo day room. This is most likely an old feeding chair, I believe is what I saw. And basically they could sit someone in it and feed them, and also if they needed to, strap them down. We also have a typewriter in here, which, listen to that. Well, it was working last night. They're laughing at me, but it was working last night. So we do have buildings in the back of the property. There's a chicken coop, a slaughterhouse, and quite a few different barns. There's also a pauper cemetery where about 50 people are buried. So we're gonna walk over here again to, again, what I believe is another day room. So here is that. Now, I'm gonna show you guys the attic, but first we're gonna finish down in this hallway. Then I will take you guys up to the attic. So, at one point there was a judge living here, and he liked to do mock trials in the attic. And he brought in this jail cell from the old jail, and basically they would have mock trials where if, you know, someone stole your toothbrush or your shampoo, you could do a trial and they would be locked in here for a night or two. Eventually the town decided that this place would also be good to house the local drunks that they didn't want to take to the actual jail. So there were some actual, you know, lawbreakers here. And still has the very big lock, which the guy who gave us the tour said that they do have the key for. And again, we just got some more rooms. I think this room is my favorite color out of all of them. And there's a fire escape. Now as we walk down here, we are looking for the room of John Oliver. So this would have been his room. He was an older man, we were told very stubborn, and he pissed a lot of people off when he was here basically. And one day he wanted to clean his window. He did not see good, so they wouldn't let him have a ladder. So instead, he opened up the window here, and started cleaning it while sitting on the ledge. Some people that didn't like him decided that they would run in, push him out the window. Now, we were told that ramp did not exist there during the time, but he fell and he did die. So he's one of the confirmed deaths here, confirmed murder actually, and those people did end up spending the rest of their lives in jail. Careful, it's really slippery right there. So yes, now we are going to go up to the attic, and let me get my light out real quick. So the attic is where the judge would hold his mock trials, and it's also said to be where a lot of the sexual assault would happen here. So here it is. It's definitely going to be really hard for you guys to see on camera. Basically, it is a large open room. There are chairs here in the middle, and there is the creepy doll thing that our tour guide made. And basically the whole area is just open. The only natural light is through some ceiling vents. Basically up here, people report seeing a stick figure on SLS camera. Sometimes it's said that he will move. Things like the ball up here will move, but Kate just kicked that one. You're also not allowed to bring any toys up here because people tend to trip on them. Yeah, and overall, it's a pretty creepy space here, wide open. Now, something that's also super interesting about this space, multiple people have gotten married up here. They have decided that this creepy attic is where they want to get married. And not only is it a creepy attic in an old poorhouse, there are birds in here. When we came up here last night, there was a bird. So, definitely just a weird spot for your wedding venue. Back there is basically the same thing, but it is over the house section of the infirmary. And there are no lights there right now, so we will not go there. But as we finish up the tour, I am going to show you guys the sleeping area real quick. So, as we come down, we're going to go in here, which separates into the living area. This area is heated if you do decide to do an investigation here. So we are now on the second floor from where we started. You can see there's a painting on the ground there. At about 6:30 this morning, that actually fell off the wall. It was so loud, it woke me up. So up here, it's really cool because they have a knob that I believe he said was from the 1930s, and it still works. You literally just twist it. Yeah, so that's super cool. And then you have 3 rooms. This is the middle room, and it has access to the balcony. So, yeah, you gotta it scrapes on the carpet. So here that is. We're now on the balcony looking up, or looking out at Indiana. Lots of traffic going by right now. And then the 2 side rooms have the turrets in them. And they have this curved glass that is original to the structure. So, very interesting, very cool. This place is awesome. I can highly recommend checking it out. It's a great place for photos and videos. And hey, if you want to get married here, you can get married here. If you want to check out our ghost hunting adventure, it will be up soon under the Paranormal Playtime series. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And please leave me a comment and let me know what you think about this place.